It's recording. There we go. Recording in progress. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you on here tonight. Yeah, welcome. We're going to talk about Plexus and what I've been doing the last little while. Plexus is all about the three pillars of health: blood sugar, inflammation, and gut health. And we love acronyms in Plexus. And so that particular one spells BIG, B-I-G, blood glucose, inflammation, and gut health. And Penny's going to talk some more about that in a little bit. But right now, I just wanted to initially share with you kind of a little bit of my story, why I started Plexus almost 3 years ago already. It's hard to believe. It'll be 3 years the end of this month that I've been taking these products faithfully, consistently. And yeah, I think I'm a lifer. I don't know that I'm going to stop them. um, I first was introduced to Plexus, like I said, in March of 2021. And prior to that, I had been watching a friend of mine on her Facebook, her Instagram, talking about this pink drink all the time. And I'm like, what is this pink drink you're doing? And, watching her, and it felt like she was basically aging backwards. Like she's maybe a little farther along in life than me, but we're basically the same age. And she was looking amazing and had all this energy and just full of life. And I wanted to know what she was doing. And meanwhile, I had been on my own sort of health journey of trying to get fit and lose weight. And I knew that cortisol levels often affect the ability to lose weight. And I was postmenopausal, and I had just hit a wall. I was having a really hard time, trying to lose weight and trying to get myself going in the proper sort of cycle. So I was sitting on Heather's couch bawling, saying, I know I just need to get more active, then I'll eat better, then I'll be able to lose weight and I'll feel better. But I can't get there, whatever. And it was actually her husband who came into the room and was like, just try it already. And I was really concerned about the cost of it. I didn't think I'd be able to afford it. It's just me, my own single income, and wasn't sure how I was going to possibly do this. But I decided I was going to commit to at least 3 months of consistently taking it and see what it did for me. Because I knew that Plexus had the 60-day money back guarantee. And the first month you usually, are able to join with cheaper discounts, welcome packs, all this kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, I'll be out 1 month of the money if it doesn't work after 3 months for me. So I jumped in with both feet, started with this triplex, and kept taking it every day as Heather and Penny and Diane, who are on the call here with us, as they helped me kind of figure out what I needed for my body, and the response that I was looking for. Yeah, they helped me figure out how much I needed and what to take, and I just kept on going. And after 3 months, I didn't have a lot of visible difference, but I felt different. I originally, during COVID, I was making a full pot of coffee a day just to keep functioning a day. 3 o'clock would hit and I hit that wall and I had to have another coffee just to perk up and keep going. I think I was even in a bit of a depression. I was going through some personal stuff and, just not feeling good there. I wasn't sleeping well, like the whole gamut. And what I found was that I was sleeping better. I had more energy. Oh, and the big things were my doctor wanted me to go on one of those injectable meds that we all hear about. And I didn't want to do that. I was scared. And because she said I was becoming pre-diabetic. And then the other big thing was I was having a lot of heartburn and I like a lot of, gas after eating, whatever, just feeling so awful and crummy. And I wanted to try to my doctor didn't want me on heartburn meds. So there was that fight that I was having with her too. So anyway, I was like, okay, something has to happen here. So fast forward, I was taking the triplex. 3 months later, I was not feeling the amount of heartburn that I was having. I was even able to kind of skip a day or two of the med that my doctor didn't want me on. And then I just kept on going. I had all this energy. I wasn't drinking coffee. I didn't feel like I needed coffee. I was sleeping better.
Wow.
And so then I, kept on going. And then 6 months in, I had some blood work done, and the one value that they look at to see if you're diabetic had leveled off for me. So I was on this steep incline, and it had actually leveled completely off. And so she still was talking about that wonder drug, and I'm like, can we just hold off a little bit longer? And then at 1 year, my levels were like drastically decreased the other way. She still won't necessarily admit that it's the supplements I'm taking, but she hasn't started me on the wonder drug, and I just feel like, Heather kept saying to me, do you want the quick fix that is probably not going to last, or do you want to heal the root, go for the root of the issues? And that was really what ultimately sold me, because I'm like, I've tried the quick fixes many times and maybe had short-term success in some way or another, but never fully got my whole health act together. And I want to be old and healthy. I want to be, that 70, 80-year-old that can go do stuff and living
Wow.
here, everybody's hiking, and I want to be able to do that, right? So yeah, I'm continuing to take this. So that's enough for me. I'll let Penny talk.
Thanks for
Okay.
sharing.
Yeah, that's a great testimony. Hey, she was so excited. I remember that day when you were like, guess what just happened? It was so great. And those like we hear testimonies of that all the time, all the time. So our belief gets bolstered every time we hear a good testimony. But what I want to talk about now is the triplex. And I just saw in some of my notes here that I have on my desk about a couple of things that are in the triplex. So I'm just going to share just a tiny bit about ingredients. I didn't want to go into a bunch of ingredients and blah, blah, blah. I want more just an overview. And then if there is something that you really want to dig into, there's so much information that we can just send you that you can pick apart and look at ingredients. But in the Slim, there is something called xylo-oligosaccharide, which is XOS. Yeah, that's I think that's in the microbiome one. And it's a prebiotic fiber. So that feeds the good gut bacteria that might be in your gut, or that gets put in your gut from the probiotic, which I'll talk about later. It will increase our lactobacillus that is already found in our gut up to 365 times. It increases our bifidobacterium up to 290 times, and it increases our Akkermansia up to 250 times. So this is something that you want to take daily. And what I did find out when I was doing a bit of digging is if you go 5 days without your Slim, you're putting yourself back to the base level. So it's imperative that once you start and you want to start building all of that good stuff up in your gut, that you just continue. Just don't go 5 days without it, because you don't want to it's like lighting your money on fire. Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to do that. So the other thing that I wanted to point out too is that it has chromium in it. So the key we need to get insulin into our cells to do its job is chromium. So that is why it's important to keep our master. That's why it works so well with our master hormone, which is insulin. And then it helps us with those spikes and valleys in our day. It has everything to do with getting a balanced blood sugar. There's lots of antioxidants. All the flavors are natural, and the color comes from beetroot powder, which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's just talk about the triplex as a whole. That was just the Slim, and those are just a couple of ingredients. But the triplex, so tips to make the triplex worked for you. There are people who say, oh, plexus didn't work for me. It just didn't work. And when they say things like that, they don't understand what plexus really is and what it isn't. So it is key to understand that there's no magic pill, but with time and consistency, you will see results. Plexus is a tool in your tool chest. So your diet and exercise go along with your supplementation. Like, this isn't going to be a cure-all if you're going to be going to McDonald's every day and shoving those hamburgers down and eating all the fries and all of the food that doesn't support your microbiome, right? All the processed stuff that kills everything off. You start to crave healthy food once you start to take this. And that stuff just isn't appealing anymore. So that's what I like about it. So plexus is a tool in your tool chest. It only works if you use it. So I have had people say, oh, it's not working. And I have so much product, I think I'm going to just suspend. I'm like, well, it's not working because you're not taking it. So, and I get that, because it's hard to introduce something into your life that you're just not used to doing. So I get that. But there are tricks. There are tricks. When you start with plexus, you get a personal health coach who is your sponsor. You also get a team of like-minded individuals who are there to help you. Like, the community in this company is second to none. And you have so many resources at your fingertips. You have all this training that's absolutely free. Like, it's an incredible company. They do things the right way, but you have a community. You are immediately introduced to like thousands of people, really. Your team is a little bit smaller than that, but there's so many people who are just there. And they'll help you pave the way. So the triplex, this combo will be the foundation that you build from. So again, with the big, it balances your microbiome to having more good gut bacteria working in your favor than bad. And this is what we want. So you've got the slim microbiome, you have the slim hunger control. Some people take both of these in a day. Some people just focus on one. You can take up to 2 a day. And the hunger control has a plant-based fiber in it that satiates your hunger. So some people take the microbiome one in the morning, and then they take the hunger control in the afternoon just to curb their cravings. And if you don't take both, that's okay too. But you just kind of pick, some people pick the hunger control, some people pick the microbiome. It just depends on what you're looking for. The diabetics really find the hunger control one to be beneficial. So, and then some just mix it together and down it first thing in the morning, but most people settle in on one. You can have 2 in your day. BioCleanse is a daily gentle cleanse. It's not something that it's like when people see cleanse, they're like, oh my gosh, how many weeks do I have to stay at home? It's like, no, it's just a plant-based magnesium and a citrate, which is plant-based. Citric acid is not, but citrate is. So those 2 things together, this BioCleanse, I could talk forever about the BioCleanse, but I'm just going to say this is what it is. Dosing will be according to your needs or your bathroom habits. So when you, if you're taking too many, you're going to know. If you're not taking enough, you're going to know. So I'll just leave it at that. If there's food going in, something needs to come out. And if you're not eliminating 2 to 3 times per day, or even 1, like we'll just take 1 to start, right? Then you're keeping those toxins in longer than they need to be there. And then the Probio-CA is a premium probiotic. It has enzymes in it that breaks up all of the garbage that's in your gut. It chips away at that hard chitin shell that lives in your gut. And then it's the BioCleanse's job to come and just sort of sweep it nicely out of your body. What I noticed is that I could take all the BioCleanse in the world, but I felt so much better once I started to up my probiotic. And my elimination time was it was short, sweet, and very pleasurable. And it was all done. I never had that before. So when that happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Like I'm not on the toilet for half an hour. So it was awesome. It was just so, they work so well together. So these three are formulated to work together, and this is what we call the triplex. So anyways, if you wanted to see the short video of the triplex, we can send it to you after this. But right now I'm going to pass it along to, we're going to watch a short video about the microbiome. So let me just screen share here. It's like a couple of minutes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is this a US company or Canadian?
It is a US company, but it has launched in Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, and Australia. So it's all of
because
those.
you know, US, they are crazy to you know, very creative, and they come out with so many drugs, right?
Yeah.
So that's why was my question, if it was a US or a Canadian company, because
Yeah,
there is so many drugs out there, you know, and they tell me, oh no, don't go there, don't go to the US, you know, they accept everything, the pharmaceutics, they don't say no, they all want to make money and they just sell. When in Canada, our pharmaceutics are more restricted, and you know, with the drugs, and they have to do a lot of trials to let the drug to be out and be sold, right?
Right. No, but Plexus is they're not like, this is a very, you know what, Dwyla, let's send Candy that video that's in the that talks about how Plexus is, what is it?
Like the
Dr.
third
Michael
party.
Hartman put it on.
Okay.
How it's vetted,
So
I
you
guess.
send me 2 videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
we'll
one
send you those.
about triplex, yeah.
But everything has to go through Health Canada before we get it. So our probiotic, the one I just talked about, is better than the one they have in the US, because Canada looked and they were like, I don't like this. So they were like, well, you got to replace it with something then that's just as good, if not better. And so they did. So ours has 7 strains. The US has 5 strains. And our 2 extra strains, they're the antifungal ones, correct, Diane? I think that's what it is. Anyway, ours is better. And so the US people are like, man, we can't
It's
get
good
it.
to know.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
And so it has to have it, like we have the NPN number on the side and everything. And there is a list that's waiting at Health Canada. They still have to go through before we can have it in Canada. But yeah, they're very particular and they're very careful. So let me show you this video about our microbiome. And I'll get it big here.
Some may have seen it already, but every time I see it, I learn something new. So
you may not realize it, but trillions of microscopic organisms, or microbes, call the human body home. These tiny microbes live on and in us, outnumbering our human cells 10 to 1. 95% of these microbes live in our gut and even have a name, the gut microbiome. Scientists are actively studying the relationship between our gut microbiome and our health, and what they've discovered is life-changing. Scientific studies have shown that our gut microbiome is essential to our health and happiness, and there's a lot of reasons why. First, gut microbes keep us healthy by educating and training our immune system. To fight off invaders. This boosts your body's ability to deal with toxins, pathogens, or harmful microorganisms. Want to know what else lives in your gut? 70% of your body's immune cells. This means when your gut is healthy, it can improve your overall health by leaps and bounds. We also have these microbes to thank for their ability to produce essential vitamins like B12, folate, vitamin K. Hello, health. Secondly, gut microbes secrete neurotransmitters like GABA, dopamine, and mood-boosting serotonin, 90% of which is produced in the gut. So if you were looking to improve your mood, you come to the right place. Good microbes have the ability to reduce stress hormones and anxiety. Hello, happiness. Lastly, gut microbes can also help keep our weight in check. Good gut microbes, like Akkermansia, play a critical role in metabolism, impacting how much energy we burn and how much fat we store. But that's not all. Gut microbes are also vital for digestion and help us break down nutrients to fuel our bodies. So how do our gut microbiomes get so unhealthy? Well, things like antibiotics, poor diet, high sugar, artificial sweeteners, soda, processed foods, and food additives strip our bodies of these important microbes. You add even more damage if you're under stress, don't get enough sleep, and you aren't exercising enough. Bloating, discomfort after meals, constipation, excess gas, and even bad breath are signs of something called dysbiosis, which means your gut is out of whack. If you are suffering from these conditions, you aren't alone. Dysbiosis affects 3 out of every 5 adults in North America. The good news is that you can get your gut back in balance and reaping the benefits of those amazing gut microbes. And good gut health is closer than you think. First, feed those good microbes with prebiotic fibers. Then seed your gut with good microbes found in probiotics. You can find these in supplements and in foods like yogurt. By doing this, you'll be able to nurture and grow your own complex and invisible community that is essential to your health. Bottom line, when your gut microbiome thrives, it means a healthier and happier you.
And there you go. That's the video we like to show because our Plexus products work so well with our microbiome. So now I'm going to throw it over to Diane, and she is going to give us her testimony.
Hi, Candy, when you were talking about your situation, I could definitely relate. I started Plexus 8 years ago, and so much has changed for me in the last 8 years. Like my list it's like I'm narrowing down my list just to tell you kind of the highlights of what it's done for me because it's done so much over this time. But the reason I came to Plexus was my stomach issues, like my digestion. I had extreme pain after I ate food. I was keeping a food journal, going to the doctor. They were trying to figure things out, had barium swallows, like they just kept testing and I was getting nowhere. And my friend, I taught her kids in Sunday school. She's the one that told me about Plexus, and I was an easy sell. I wasn't a skeptic. I wasn't like, I had tried so many things, but I was desperate. I was 45 years old and I was like, I need to do something. Like it was affecting work. It was affecting my social life. It was affecting my family life. Like it was just getting in the way of everything. So that's the reason why I started. And after it was within the first month, I was feeling better. So I wasn't getting sick as often. It wasn't as bad as it had been. Like when I did get sick, it wasn't as bad. I knew I was getting better. And it progressively just got better over time. Like when the next 2-3 months, I was a different person. And I mean, I was struggling to go to work. And there were times where we would just have to cancel our plans because I was just sick from what I ate, basically. So on top of that, I didn't expect anything more than I was just hoping that it would work for my digestion. But I had really bad menstrual issues, and I don't know if we're in the right age group for this, but I had it was really bad, and I was in pain for about 3 weeks out of the month. So I had my doctor, I will never forget her quote. She was, I don't know how to explain her, but she was very blunt. Anyway, she said, "It sucks to be you." That was her
Wow.
response to me. And that was after 3 years of going to her and saying, like, I'm struggling, like I need help. She did put me on birth control, and that helped with my ovulation pain, but still, I was still suffering. And then on top of the stomach issues, like it was just, yeah, it was years of not fun. So anyway, within 2 to 3 months, my menstrual issues were so much better. Like now I use an app on my phone to tell me when I'm getting my period, because before it didn't matter. Like I was in pain all the time. Now I don't even know. The app tells me when it's coming. It's like, oh, okay. So awesome. It's not supposed to be like, it is not supposed to be. I just kept thinking that that was just going to be me. I was going to have to struggle like that for the rest of my life. And it's not the case. So I just know that there's teenagers or ladies in their 20s, 30s, 40s that are struggling and they really don't need to be. And they probably think the same way I did, that that was part of life. So that was something that got so much better that I wasn't even expecting. It wasn't even on my radar, because when I started, all my sponsor talked about was gut health. So I didn't even think that it would help with that. And then the last thing that was big, major for me was I had seasonal discomfort. I had allergies in the spring, and my job is really busy in the spring season. I work with farmers, so that is when I'm supposed to be at the top of my game. And I say Plexus saved my marriage, because it's just a joke. It didn't. But we used to have an argument every spring because he wanted to sleep with the window open and I could not bear it. Like, there were times where I couldn't breathe. Like, my sinuses were just a mess. And with all the pollen in the air, it was just horrible. And I started in November with Plexus, and that following spring, we didn't have an argument. And I was shocked because I was not expecting, like, I wasn't even expecting it to help me with menstrual issues. And then it helped me with the allergies. And it was just like, wow, like, this stuff is amazing. I didn't need somebody to build my belief, because within the first 6 months, I was a lifer, like Dwyla said, a lifer. So she's on Plexus too. Sorry. Anyway, and so other than that, like, I did have mild anxiety. It has helped with that. I didn't notice that right away. And all of a sudden one day, going to an event that I usually would be very nervous, I thought, wow, I'm not, like, I'm okay. So I noticed that. I used to have pain in my feet. That cleared up. And lastly, there was one more thing. What is it? Raynaud's. I suffered with Raynaud's, and it was progressively getting worse. And I was telling Dwyla before the meeting started, I used to bring gloves with me in the summertime. I would have gloves in my purse because I would get a reaction on my hands when I'd go to the grocery store. So I'd have to walk around in the summertime in Superstore with gloves on. Or I would go right to the rotisserie chickens and I would put my hands on the element, like the metal by the rotisserie chickens, to warm my hands up so they would, yeah, it was crazy. And I don't deal with that anymore. So that is mine. And the only other couple of things I wanted to touch on was, and you got to remember, this is over 8 years. Like, it's just gotten better and it hasn't come back. That's another thing to remember. Like, consistency is Plexus is gonna work, but it's also gonna continue if you continue. So it's just proof of that for me. But my husband had really bad psoriasis, and he never complained about digestive issues, but he had them, and he noticed Plexus helped with that. But our hope was that it was going to help with his psoriasis. And after the first 6 months, we were kind of sad that it didn't, because we didn't see any results, but it just took longer for him. And the only reason he kept taking it, because it was helping him, but by then I was sharing. So of course, like, I'm like, no, you're just going to take it every day. And so I would always put it out there. And so he just kept taking it. And for him, it just took a little bit longer. And I know it was on month 10, and I know that's not when it happened, but that's when I noticed. I was sitting across the way from him. He was wearing shorts, and I'm like, your psoriasis is gone. He's like, I know. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me that? Like, I'm sharing with everybody about what Plexus has done for me, and he didn't even say anything. So his legs were cleared up. He went for his doctor's appointment, and his doctor was ready to discuss his psoriasis and his varicose veins, and they were not there. So I know, it was amazing. And he was on the triplex. Like, it's just those 3 products that Penny was talking about. That's all we started with, was just the triplex. They have more products now over this time span. And then my mom, just quickly, I'm going to touch on her because she always wants me to share. She started when she was 80. So 80 years old, and it's never too late. That's what I'm going to think. It's never too late to start. But yeah, she's she was facing surgery because she had diverticulitis. And basically she had had some really bad episodes, and her doctor said, next one, you're going to have surgery because we got to remove it. Like, you're having too many issues. And she's 87. So she's been taking it for 7 years, and she has not had one episode since. So that's amazing to me and rewarding, and ugh, I could go on and on, but that's my health testimony, health story.
Okay,
Oh, and
thanks for
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I think I'm supposed to introduce the documentary. Are we doing that? Okay, so Penny's going to run Marge's, the top of the company for Plexus is like your status would be like called a diamond. I don't know. There's different levels that you can reach financially, but our upline, I guess you would call sponsor's sponsor, she is a diamond in the company. And I will say that I didn't personalize or have that feeling that I could do this until I saw that she did it, because I started Plexus just after when she started to grow her business. And I saw her from just having a few people underneath her, and she's in a small town, and well, she'll get into that. But anyway, this grew my belief in the business part of it, just because it was so close to us, and she's such a good friend and a support system. So there we go, Penny.
Hey. I just
I
got
got
her.
my dog out.
Where did it go? Are you kidding me?
Oh no,
Did I
really?
lose-
We
Is
had
this-
trouble earlier, and she was, oh, did you get it?
I want this to go away. Oh, it did. Look at that. Maybe I just needed to say that. Okay, I'm gonna try the other one because maybe it'll pull it up. If not, I'll find it.
Yeah, and if not, we can do a quick recap of it.
Is this it? No. Oops. Oh, shoot.
Well, that's okay.
Nope. I'm gonna find it. I am
Go
going to
ahead.
find it. So how about we talk about, Delilah, why don't you talk about oh, Candy, did you have a question?
Yes. So it sounds like triplex gives the overall health to our bodies, right? I thought it was more concentrated on the gut itself, the health of the gut.
Mhm.
So
It-
how
It is. It is concentrated 100% on the gut. And what people are finding is that when the gut is healthy, everything else just falls into place. So, like for me, I suffered with massive anxiety and really bad depression for years. And I don't take an antidepressant anymore. And I stopped taking them before we had children because I didn't want that to affect our babies. And I was afraid after I had babies that I was going to go back to that place because it's just such a dark place, and I just didn't want any more antidepressants. And I had really bad acid reflux. None of the medication was touching it. And I was taking some pretty powerful stuff, and 2 at a time. It wasn't happening. I was just like sick every time I ate. I was sick if I didn't eat, and it didn't matter what I ate. When it got to that, like when salads were making me sick, I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. I can't eat anything. And then that's
Yeah.
when Diane came into the picture, and she said, well, I might have something here. And I had gone to a naturopath and spent like thousands of dollars. And I just thought, I can't maintain this. We're not like, we're living on one income. And I just can't. I can't justify spending $1,000 every time I go to the naturopath. And I was taking all of these supplements, like so many, And like 4 of them are in one little capsule of our probiotic. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm paying $48 a month for this probiotic, where I was paying $250 for all of the things that are in our probiotic. So, and ours is far superior to what I was taking. Anyways, when I started, it took me a year because I was afraid of the cost. My husband sat back and didn't say anything for a year, but we were living off of his income. And I thought, no, I can't justify this. We have 2 babies. They need these things, all the things. And I wasn't thinking about me being healthy for my kids. Like I had joint pain, my muscles hurt. Like I was a mess. I was not in good shape. But my husband just finally looked at me one day and he's like, what are you waiting for? Like, why is this such a big deal? And it was a fraction of what I was paying at the naturopath. Like I'm going to say a fifth of what I was paying. And that's all I have. And it's superior to what I was taking. So it took me a bit longer to see the results I wanted to see. My iron levels were always in the toilet, always. And it took about 8 months before I saw that my iron levels were well above where they should be, or where they used to be. And I was just thrilled. And that's when I knew it was working for me. But after the first 5 days of just the pink drink, I woke up and I was awake. And I could not remember the last time I felt awake when I woke up. I was always dragging myself to the coffee pot. And I forgot to have my coffee, and I had a really wicked headache by the end of the day because I hadn't had my caffeine. And I was like, why am I getting a headache? And then Jim said, well, you didn't make coffee today. And I thought, oh, I didn't even make it. I didn't even think to make the coffee. 5 days.
Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's just the drink. And then when I started introducing everything else, my constipation disappeared and my gut started to feel better. It took about 1.5 years for my acid reflux to get under control, but it takes you a long time to get sick. So it's going to take a while to get better. And I just knew, just like Diane, well, if it's working here, what else is going to happen? And I have not, aside from when my sister passed away, I have not had a whole lot of anxiety. Like it's rare that I have a bad day with that. And depression, I don't fear it coming back because we have all of the tools that we need. So our gut is the epicenter of everything that happens in our bodies. So
Yes, they say that our gut is our second brain.
yes, yeah, and it is for me.
Yes.
That's for sure. It's
And-
like I say that it saved my life because I can't even imagine where I would be today without it. I was napping all the time. It's like, oh, Trilby, you want to watch a short show? Mommy needs to have a nap. And, you know, she comes home and says, oh, mommy's favorite thing to do is take a nap. I'm like, oh, I don't want that to be her reality. And I'm an older parent and I want to watch them get married and I want to see them graduate. And I want to be I want to be active at 65 or even 70 years old because they'll still be young. I won't be, but I need to be healthy for them. So that's why I started. And then my husband lost his job and I was like, oh, what are we going to do? So that's when I started with earning my products. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to earn enough to pay for my products. And then everything else kind of fell into place. So I found the documentary.
Oh, good.
And I can't wait to show it to you. It is so encouraging. And it's fun when you know the person. So here's March.
Penny was there, so, right?
Yeah, I was.
There.
And here is her story. Oh, play. I guess I need to play it.
Do you hear it on your end? Oh,
There
there.
we go.
Is it okay? Do you need me to turn up the volume?
We couldn't hear
Yes.
it.
We couldn't hear anything. We just heard the word
Yeah.
barge is all I heard.
Okay,
Yeah.
Are you sharing the sound?
I think so. Let's get this back down over here. I should be. Do you heard Barge though?
Yeah,
No,
just,
you need to go to the sound and put it higher,
Dense forests,
the volume.
winters, and just became super resilient. Hard
yeah, it's not, I think it's
It's not-
somehow is
okay.
not sharing the sound.
Let me stop sharing. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me look at here. Okay, audio settings. Okay. Here we go. I think this is what we need to do here.
All right, I'm gonna mute.
Okay. All right, let's try this. Oh, whoops. Okay, go away now. Okay, let's try that. I don't want it to blast either. Deafen you either. So here we go. I'm gonna go back. to- There we go. Can you hear it? No?
This is the Peace River. This is the river that my great
Oops.
grandparents would have come up on when they first settled here, probably about 80, 90 years ago. They came by barge and came to an almost like completely uninhabited land, lots of dense forest, very, very cold winters, and just became super resilient people. People can do hard things even though it seems like it's not possible. When you persevere and when you're consistent, things turn out. They started out with nothing. We probably wouldn't have wanted to start with something like this, but they saw into the future and they saw what this place and this land can do for the future generations to build a legacy. Just like our ancestors, they saw an opportunity and they came and they built it, hard or not. I feel like that was us in Plexus. Plexus came to us, we saw the opportunity, we started building, and here we are, and we're helping more and more people do it. About 10 years ago, we were actually in a place of where we didn't think our dreams would ever become reality. It's a hard place to be. We needed a financial opportunity. We needed health to be restored. And when Plexus came to us, I was so shocked to see good products and a good business opportunity. That has been the start of funding. My community is super small. People really think that you have to live in a certain place, and that's purely not true. I also thought, how would I ever find enough people to dive into? But it's so not that. It's just sharing what you know is going to change that next person's life. So this has been my little hobby this year. Spending some time on growing some things.
When she started the business, she just loves it. That's her life.
I love gardening. It's so comparable to people, to where you're planted. And growth is something that is amazing in Plexus. There was a lot of personal growth that she went through, and it just expanded her joy for other people. She has walked through some very challenging moments, but she never gave up. I myself had to understand that personal development, leadership role, surrounding yourself with supportive, encouraging. All those things were stepping stones in the journey to that. Plexus as a company coming into Canada was the same thing. You had to build each little step. You always see other people's future ahead of time, and you want it so bad for them and see it so clearly for them that it's really hard for you not to forward the whole entire ground. So it's really by your effort as we kind of trudged through so many things that were new to everyone. But we saw the goal at the end. Plexus isn't just about selling supplements. Anyone can do that. But Plexus is about community, a culture of support, developing leadership, sharing the gifts that you have to bless and add value to others, to grow a community, and linking arms together and developing all and growing all these dreams that come with mine. She is an absolute giant in passion and purpose, and she brings that to absolutely everything she does. And so it wouldn't have mattered if the doors would have stayed closed in Canada for years. She was still going to make her way. Trailblazer doesn't allow people to knock her down. She has moved on. be the first one, go through the tough stuff and then carry it on to come after. I know that I can trust her and I know that she's gonna be honest and constructive criticism is awesome. And we know that we need to have that to grow. And so I have that with her. I love it. She appreciates her surroundings and also appreciates the people that come alongside her. Really inspires the people that maybe others might push them aside. Shown me what true resilience looks like and how to take all the hard edges and make them soft. The heart of plexus is loving and serving, and that never stops. It doesn't stop just because you're done, and it doesn't stop just because you have finished a certain goal. I have so many people in my team and just in my life that I know have dreams, and I know that I can be a part of helping them achieve them. There's so much more to be done. So much to be done.
So that's Marge. That's her story. When we were there, it was really interesting to listen to listen to her talking about how her ancestors arrived in that area, because the government said, if you can populate this area, you can make it work, you get the land. So what happened was they had 2 enormous barges, and one had all their supplies and animals. One had all the people and all the people's belongings. And the supply barge hit a sandbar and completely, they lost everything except for one horse. So they showed up in the north, in that land, as cold as it gets up there. Like it's -50 and plus, like it gets cold up there in the winter. And the native population kind of took them under their wing and showed them how to build huts and showed them what foods were good to eat. And like, it was a journey. She said her great grandmother would sit and cry even in her late 80s talking about that journey, because that's who landed there the first time. So she's got a lot of grit and a lot of resilience, and she's a great leader. Anyways, I like to show diamond documentaries to people just to show them what's possible when you have a dream. So I will pass it on over to first of all, I think Diane, you had a question to ask and then some prizes. We have prizes for the people
No
who showed
way.
up today.
So one more question, Penny. So everybody's body is different, right? And Diane was saying, well, to her took 1 month to 3 months, and her husband took 1 year. But I'm sure that after 1 month, you should feel the difference, right?
Yes, you do. You see little things along the way. So my 5 days in, I was like, oh, I feel awake. And then after I started taking the BioCleanse, just getting personal, we talked poop. So my very first poop was so nice. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. And that was from being constipated all the time. And I just sat down and I went and I thought, that's it? Like, that's it. And it was so, and it's never changed since I started. So like, it's those little things. And then the big things eventually do happen. And then you go, this is why I joined, but I don't really care anymore. Like, all of these other things that I didn't know I needed help with are resolved.
And it's not going to be in the order that we want. Like with my husband, he wanted his skin condition that was what he wanted. And he didn't see those results right away. His body had to heal his gut first. And he didn't really suffer a lot, but obviously it is usually from a gut issue that you have the skin conditions. And he had issues, and his body had to heal that first before he would see those other results. So,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I know some people, like even me, I mean, ultimately I'd love to be, however many pounds less, right? Like, I'd love to lose a bunch of weight, but I feel so much better. Like, it's not that this has necessarily made me this skinny person now, but the energy and the feeling so much better. Like I can't even describe it. So, you know, now it's like, okay, now I need to get into the other stuff of moving my body more and eating better and, you know, all that sort of thing. But yeah, I had to work on just feeling better first before I actually felt like I deserved to do the rest, you know?
Yes, well-being first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then step by step. First, like Penny said, heal the gut first, have a healthy gut, and then everything will get in place, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's what seems to be happening these days. And I'm glad that some of the medical community is getting on board with this and not just pushing drugs. Some still
Yes.
do, but some don't. Some are saying, do you exercise? What's your diet like? Let's get you to a dietitian. And that's what doctors should be
Mm-hmm.
doing. So, and in the absence of that, we know our bodies. And when you're not getting the help you need from your doctor, you just start looking outside of that. And it was the best decision that I ever made. That's for sure. Anyway, Dwyla, you want to take it?
All right. I just want to be conscious of the time. We said it'll only be
I
20
know.
minutes and we've
It's
gone
almost been an hour.
between all the technical difficulties.
I know.
So yeah, just, you know, because I realized that I liked these products and I felt better, I was like, okay, what am I going to do to be able to keep affording this? Like, as I said, I realized that I just cut out different places where I obviously was spending money that I didn't need to be spending because for some, you know, somehow I was able to afford it every month and keep going. And then I was like, okay, well, now I've kind of caught the vision of where people can go with this and actually make an income. And so, you know, that's my dream now. And I mean, I have had some success where my products are able to be paid for every month, which is huge. You know, I've been able to make back that initial investment and continue to have some residual income. Plus, when you're an ambassador, you actually get 10% off. Well, I pay the amount, but I get 10% back. So like, who pays me to take vitamins and supplements, right? So I'm getting money back in my bank account just based on what I'm buying. And then, you know, all I had to do was share it with 3 people to get my products paid for. And then they just keep talking about the power of 3 and how, you know, it can grow into something amazing and be an actual legitimate residual income for people. You know, and then people like Marge who have hit this diamond rank where they're making crazy. I can't even imagine. Like, I cannot imagine. My goal right now is if I could make, you know, an extra $500 to $1,000 a month and be able to feel like, you know, a vehicle payment, or even like my big dream now is I'm just thinking in the next 1 to 3 years, it's like, you know, I would like to buy my own place again and own my own place and not just rent. So, you know, those are exciting dreams.
Yeah.
True. For me, it was just basically, I shared with my mom, my sister, my friend. Those were the 3 people that I got right away because I did want my products to be paid for. And that's a lot of people, that's kind of as far as they go. And that's all they want to do. They just want that to be covered and they're happy. But you can take it to the extreme where Marge is actually, she re-entered, and I don't know her rank as a re-entry, but anyway, she's making more than a brain surgeon. Like, it's just unbelievable. And you're changing lives. I get emotional when I think about the people that are close to me that I know I've been a part of them changing their lives, because the quality of your life, when you feel better, you do better. So it's so rewarding. Away from the money, it's rewarding, but it's really nice to get that paycheck.
Yes. And I was going to say too, it's not, I mean, yes, I'd love to be able to have this second stream of income and whatever, but every time I've reached out to somebody, it is more about like you can get help, you know, feel better. You can get your health back. You don't have to be in pain. You don't have to be suffering in whatever the situation is, right? Like, yeah. I mean, I know like Sandy on the call, like you've said that your pain and your headaches and stuff are not there anymore, correct?
Right. And yeah, when I got up in the morning, I felt good, whereas before I felt crappy in the mornings.
Yeah. And I mean, even
Yeah.
that alone is huge, right? To be able to wake up and
It
feel
is.
like, oh, I could do something today. Like,
Great. Yeah. I'm not ready to give up coffee though.
You don't have to.
that's
You do
okay.
not have to. I
You-
have not given up coffee because I love it.
And neither
Me
have
too.
I just drink it because I like it,
Yes.
Yeah.
not because I need it.
Yes. Coffee is my
Yeah.
drug. Don't take me
Love it.
away, coffee.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, my big thing
Yeah.
is now though I can only have 1 or 2 cups and it's more about the ritual. It's not that I actually need it to function and get past noon, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's just something to think of, like one thing that we say is we don't want your finances to get in the way of your health. So if it's something that stops you from purchasing and trying it, then it's just a good vehicle to have that where we can make some money to cover the cost of the products. And then it's not even coming out of your pocket. So and it has a 60-day money back guarantee too. So you win. It's a win-win.
So, okay, can we talk about the prices now then?
Well, we'll end this Zoom and then I'll get you to connect with Dwyla after
Okay.
it's all over.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yes,
Prizes.
Where is it?
prizes.
Okay.
Okay, Diane,
Nice.
you talk about the prizes.
They're just water bottles. One is a metal one and one is a plastic one. And I'm gonna send. It's a sample of Active. That's our energy drink. There's a little bit of caffeine. It's natural caffeine. And Hydroplex is it's like our electrolyte drink. So all natural. Awesome. It's way better for you than Gatorade or anything like that. And then of course, package of Slim. So those 3 are going to go in the water bottles and I don't know where you live, but they're going to go to both of you. So
So
yeah,
if you just want to send your addresses to Dwyla and Dwyla will get them to Diane and yeah. Thanks for
Awesome.
showing up tonight.
Hey,
Thank you for the presentation. Really appreciate that. I needed
thank you
this.
guys.
Okay,
Thanks,
great.
Sandy.